I want to preface this whole video with I love Spider-Man. Okay? That's where we're at. That's where we're at in our lives. I love Spider-Man. He is, if not my number one hero, which I think he is, he's at least like top three. It's kind of rarefied air up there. You know, you've got Spider-Man, who's amazing. You got Wolverine, when he's actually written correctly, you know? When he's really exemplifying the I'm the best at what I do and what I do is not very nice, and he's not like, Claw God or something. Wolverine is a pretty excellent character. He's way overexposed these days. He's like on every team Marvel has. But I love me some Wolverine. And yeah, actually let's just stop at top two. Like Spider-Man is a top two character. Done. It's a character I love, a character I grew up with. Some of my oldest comic books, maybe the oldest comic books, are in fact Spider-Man comics. That should tell you where I'm coming from. So if you go, oh, Elizibar, you're just having some nostalgia. I don't know why you'd be talking like that. You may be right. You may be right. There is definitely a little nostalgic bias going on here. And I think it's justified. I think it's absolutely justified. Preach it! Whoop whoop! Oh, I'm in a silly mood apparently. We're not really going to look at this book too much. I don't want to talk about this book too much. But I do want to talk about this book. And these are both True Believer let's get back up here. These are both True Believer reprints. I did like a 3-minute video on one of the other ones the other day, and where's it at? Yeah, it's this one, right, Cheer? Like I did a little like 3-minute thing on that, and it was pretty good. Like there was some great juxtapositions in it. Just it was good. It was good. Sadly, just good doesn't provide a lot of stuff to talk about. Just good says, yeah, it's pretty good. That's really all you can say about some of that kind of stuff. I'm also not really going to talk about this one, but I just wanted to show that on screen because that's a pretty classic cover. I've seen that cover homaged in at least one place. Although, okay, let's stop. What kind of pose is Morbius in? Like, I understand you like backhanded him. But like, what do you do with your other hand there, man? What is his hand doing? You know? I don't know. Doesn't matter. We're not going to talk about it. Okay. These True Believer reprints continue to just absolutely kill it. Look at this cover. This is not a book I own the original of. This one is pretty much new to me. It's Amazing Spider-Man 258. And now you're like, Elizibar, I'm looking at this and it looks like a soap opera. Yeah, it does. When Spider-Man is good, it's really about Peter Parker and not about the superpowers. That's when Spider-Man is popping. That's when Spider-Man is boiling. And he's got it right here. This is some like very classic looking early 80s coloring work. See the backgrounds paneled with like bold solid colors so they pop off a newsprint. But the writing, thumbs up. You know, I would do like a okay sign or something, but people say that's racist now, and I don't understand why. But whatever, it's good. So he's having an argument with Mary Jane. She's like, "I know you're Spider-Man. You're just gonna lie to me and tell me you're not." And so they're having an argument. It's a relationship. These things happen. They absolutely happen. Even people who are perfectly in love will have fights because you're not the same person. You're two different people interacting. Spider-Man writers really understand that. They understand, like Peter Parker, he's a really smart guy. Got this enormous weight of responsibilities on his shoulders, but he's also a normal guy. He's not a weirdo. He's not a freak. He's not like Frank Castle, obsessed with my family's dead. You know? Do you like how I did that? I put that shadow on the yeah. He's not like Captain America, where it's like duty and honor. He's like, I'm a dude. I'm growing up. And over the course of the Spider-Man run, up until Dan Slott and Joe Quesada decided they were going to ruin the character, you could kind of grow up with Spider-Man. Even as a kid, I found Spider-Man, this dude who has a relationship, who has a job, actually kind of relatable. Like, it was cool. It's like a normal person can go be a superhero. You don't have to be afflicted by being special, by being a mutant. You don't have to be persecuted. Well, okay, J. Jonah Jameson persecutes him, but you know what I mean. You don't have to be like this crazy stuff. You just have to be like, have a big enough heart, and maybe get bit by a radioactive spider. So Black Cat totally crashes the argument. Oh, I have never been in that situation before. I can't imagine that having one girlfriend drop in while you're arguing with another girlfriend ever leads to anything good. But in this case, they crash in, and it kind of resolves, and Peter's kind of getting some makeouts on with Black Cat after that point. Now, part of the driving concern here is his costume, right? Because it's weird. All right, so let's say you're in the Marvel Universe. Where do you go to deal with the weird? If your answer was the Fantastic Four, jeez, this is the dumbest thing, but I like it. Where was I? Oh, right. If you're in the Marvel Universe and you have like weird alien stuff going on, and you have any kind of connections to anybody, you end up talking to the Fantastic Four. You pop in and Reed Richards does science to it. You know? To quote Adam Warrock, I'm going to do science to it. And that's exactly what they do. They do all kinds of crazy science. They're like, hey, we want to get the costume off of him. He wants the costume to come off. He doesn't understand it. He wants to know what it is. They discover that it's alive. And they get the costume off. I'm pretty sure there was another True Believer reprint lately that had the What If story for where they failed to get the costume off of him. I also think I actually have the original of that, which is probably worth like $1 or something. But it's a very pivotal. Why not? That's a word. Very pivotal moment in the character when they get rid of the symbiote, because of course that gives birth to Venom and all kinds of other crazy shenanigans. So decades of Marvel history are all tied up with that. And so after we get a little super heroics, because he does go, I know you're just looking at nothing. He does briefly like interfere with some stuff, and there's some chaos, and you get a little action. You return to the heart of the story, the meat. Peter Parker talking with people, building relationships, living his life as best he can. Marvel in the 60s understood that a lot. That's why all these characters have their really ridiculous secret identities. Thor as Donald Blake, Daredevil as a lawyer. Like all those OG characters, they have that dichotomy. That way they are relatable to you, the reader. This is a great little story. I kind of wish... I probably have some books set like 20 issues later, so totally irrelevant. Never mind. The other thing I just wanted to look at here, Amazing Spider-Man versus the Hulk. I saw this on stream. It took me a second to realize it really wasn't until I saw Spider-Man. Like, I'm looking here, like, okay, whatever. Sebastian Shaw, who cares? The Hulk looks goofy. There's one panel I'm gonna take you to, which I think is a truly great panel. This is why people like Todd McFarlane's art. I hope I've been pronouncing his name correctly for years. Nobody has captured how Spider-Man should look quite like him. That's my opinion. Your opinion can and should vary, if you wanted to. But in my opinion, he nails how Spider-Man should look better than almost anybody. He captures like a real sense of inhuman grace in his poses here. So he's swinging through the city. He's doing this danger jump. Like, he really nails. That's how Spider-Man should move. That's how Spider-Man should look. The webbing has more detail in it than I'm like trying to think. I'm not going to go dig out Guncats, but this webbing has more little line work and attention to detail to it than entire pages of that comic. His costume, all the detailed line work with the muscle tone. Who did the coloring? Who did the coloring on top of this beautiful line art? Bob Sharon. His coloring work is sublime. Todd McFarlane really nails the spirit of Spider-Man the way he's supposed to look. It's gorgeous. If you could somehow combine beautiful writing, beautiful art in every comic book, you would sell. You would revive the comic book industry. Sadly, modern Marvel doesn't really seem to want to do this. I cannot. I understand people say like some of the newer Spider-Man writers have kind of turned around from what Dan Slott and Joe Quesada did, but they really wounded the character, and I don't trust Marvel to do it right. I got into Renew Your Vows, which Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows like last year, because it kind of picked up where Spider-Man should be. He should be a man with a family at this point in his career, but he's not. He's not. Instead, he's like reliving his teenage years. He's reliving like the soap opera drama from here instead of more mature forms of drama. It's silly. It absolutely is silly. At least they're supposedly getting him back together with Mary Jane, which I'm told that. I don't know if it's actually true or not because I'm not reading those books. Maybe I should, but it's really hard for me to start reading that knowing that it's being written by Nick Spencer, Hail Hydra, that guy. Whereas going back here and just opening this up and seeing how Spider-Man's supposed to be, seeing a Spider-Man that acts like Spider-Man, a Spider-Man that talks like Spider-Man, Spider-Man that looks like Spider-Man, it's awful hard to beat. And for $1 a pop at that. I'll see you all next time. You have a great day. Thanks for listening to me rant and ramble about Spider-Man. I really appreciate it. Hopefully I've remembered to put some things for you to click up here on the screen. And even if I haven't, there should be some things down the description below. Down that way. You should scroll down there and click on some. On like every social media platform out there. And if you want to follow me, there's a pretty good chance I'll follow you back. If I don't, it's probably just because the notification got lost in the shuffle somewhere. Anyway, you all have a great day. I'll see you next time. And bye-bye.